Okay, so there we go. So now in 11.6, this is the end of chapter 11 here. We're solving systems. This has been all about systems, more than one equation at the same time. Now we want to solve more than one equation at the same time, a system where they're not linear. It says up, it's kind of off the screen. It says non-linear. Non-linear. So in other words, they're not just both lines or all three lines. This and this are different kinds of shapes. So how do you solve a couple equations at the same time? Well, you know how to do this stuff, I think. It's just about, plugging one of them into the other, huh? So let's just take this equation. xy equals 2. You could solve for x or for y. It doesn't really matter which one, and plug into the other. It's just a little tedious, but I think you generally know what to do. So let's just divide by y, So x is 2 over y, and then plug that into the other one. We'll bring the other one over right here. 2x squared plus y squared is 6. So take that and put it in for x. So it becomes 2. And then we put in the, 2 over y squared plus y squared is 6. That makes sense what I'm doing there? Yep. So just solve for one letter in one equation, plug it into the other. And then you've got only one letter, so then you can solve. It's easier said than done, though. It's not always easy. So let's do what we can here. So this is 2. 2 over y squared. Well, square the 2, square the y. That's 4 over y squared. Good so far. I just squared the 2 and squared the y. And now, what do you do when you got a whole number multiplying a fraction? Yeah, where does it go? Top or bottom?
Top.
Top, put it over 1, it goes to the top. So it's 8 over y squared plus y squared is 6. Good to there so far. Now what? It's kind of weird looking. What do we do?
Multiply by 8.
By the denominator. Yeah, by y squared. Perfect. Good. You guys are good equation solving machines now. Exactly.
But after that, I'm lost.
Yeah, well, I think it'll be easier after that. So once we multiply, so whenever you got a denominator, that's exactly right. You multiply by that y squared, right? So let's do that. Y squared. You got it all the way, huh? And these cancel, right? You always want to get rid of fractions, huh? So you get 8 plus, and then this is y to the 4th. 6y squared.
Oh, it distributes to all?
Yeah, got to go, because you got to treat both sides the same, right? Equal treatment, both sides. This is a funny looking y. There we go. So we good to there so far?
Yeah.
Now what? Well, actually, you can get it all on the same sign and factor. When you got higher powers, fourth powers, and things like that, just get a 0. Get everything on one side, get a 0 factor. It's pretty much what always happens. So just jump this over here, or just subtract 6y squared, same thing, from both sides. And kind of running out of room. I'll bring it over here. Put it in order. Y to the 4th minus 6y squared plus 8 equals 0. Y to the 4th minus 6y plus 8. Is that good so far? And then I think that'll factor y squared.
4.
Yeah, they got to multiply to be 8. 2 and 4.
-4.
They got to add to be negative 6.
Oh.
Both negative. Right, minus 2 minus 4 makes minus 6, and 2 negatives multiply to be positive. Good so far?
Mm-hmm.
On that factoring. And maybe I'll go to a fresh screen if that's okay. So this is question, this is this one. Okay, so where were we? We were at y to the 4th minus 6y squared plus 8 equals 0. I factored it. Y squared. And that was 2 and 4, both negative. And then you set each one equal to 0 separately, right? Because if two things are timesing to be 0, either one could be 0 to make them times and be 0. So then y squared is 2. Just add the 2 over. And then what do you do to solve for y there? Square root. And when you square root?
Plus or minus.
Plus or minus. Yeah, don't forget when you put a roof on the house, up and down the ladder. So it's really important in this section to get both those answers. Plus or minus root 2. Other side, jump the 4 over. So it becomes y squared is 4. And then roof on the house, up and down the ladder. Y is plus or minus regular 2. Huh? So there's our 4 answers. And for each of those 4 different y answers, we got to plug in and get an x. It's a little tedious, isn't it? So we good to there. So these go on and on and on and on. But I think you know how to do it. It's a lot of steps. So I'm going to go to fresh screen yet again. You're okay there?
Yeah.
Okay. And one last screen, I think, will cover it. We got to plug in and get all the x's. So I've got y is plus root 2, minus root 2, plus 2, and minus 2. They're all y equals y equals y equals, right? So for each of those y answers, I got to plug in and get an x to go with each of those. So it won't be that hard, but you still got to do it, or maybe you can see it. That'd be good enough. So what is it? Well, you can plug in any equation you want, but this one's easier, huh? Whenever you have your choice, plug into the easier one. That'll make life a lot easier. So I'm going to for sure plug into that one. And so what does that give me? X times y is 2. So what is x? 2 over y. So it's 2 over root 2. That's this first one here. X is 2 over root 2. But, you know, we can't leave 2 over root 2, can we? What do you do when you have a root in the bottom? Top and bottom by root 2, right? Get 2 root 2 over, what's root 2? Root 2 in the bottom? Plane 2 cancels, x is root 2. So that answer is x root 2, y root 2. That's the first answer. Right? This is x and y. Right? The y root 2 led to an x root 2. Now we do the second one. And pretty soon you can see the pattern, I think. Now it's going to be, again, it's x equals, remember this right here, right here, 2 over y. So 2 over negative root 2. Well, it's going to be the same thing. Right? Multiply top and bottom by root 2. Going to get 2 root 2 over negative 2. The bottom, negative root 2 times root 2 is negative plane 2. They cancel. X is negative root 2. The negative's still there. Negative root 2. So what's that answer? Negative root 2, negative root 2, x, y. There's your second answer. And on you go. Well, the others are actually easy. I can do them quick. Again, x, just keep using x is 2 over y. So plug in y is 2. So x is 1. So that's the answer 1, 2. Yeah, and the final step, x is 2 over y. X is 2 over negative 2. X is negative 1. That's negative 1, negative 2. There are the 4 answers.
Wait,
1, 2. Yeah. Oh, with a comma between them all.
Okay.
Yeah, big pain. It takes a long time just to type it in. You got to type in all of that with commas between each of the parentheses. 4 different answers. Well, you could probably do the plus or minus thing, or maybe not. Nah, I think you're going to have to type them in. Yeah. Good. It's not too bad. I think you know how to do it. It's tedious, though. All right. So, we've got to take that first equation, x plus y plus 3 is 0. Solve for x or y, doesn't matter which one. I'll just solve for x, I guess. So just jump these guys to the other side, and x is minus y minus 3. Take that and plug it in to the other equation. What's the other equation? X squared plus y squared plus 5y minus 4x is negative 6. So plug in for x there. Plug in for x there. So we get, what do we get? Minus y minus 3 squared plus y squared plus 5y minus 4 times x. And what's x again? Minus y minus 3 equals negative 6. That makes sense? I just plugged in for x minus y minus 3. And then just a ton of algebra. That's important, though, because you're going into calculus. It's algebra skills that'll make you survive and thrive in calculus. If you're good at algebra, calculus isn't that bad. You'll be fine. So it's good to practice all that algebra. Foiling and signs. Just get to where you just almost never drop a negative and things like that. That really does matter. That's almost the most important thing. People have trouble with calculus because of algebra. People succeed in calculus because they're good at algebra. So there it is. So just work that out. Be glad to help you. Come on. So I would start with this bottom one. 3x plus 2y is 7. Wait a minute. This one's concerning me. It's going to make fractions, isn't it? I don't want that. Oh yeah, let's be tricky. Okay. Well, let me show you what I'm thinking to help. If we solve for say we solve for like y. If I grab that 3x and jump it over here, I'll get 7 minus 3x. Good so far? You guys tracking with me? I'm going to show you something that'll really save you some time and effort. So dial in with me here. If I divide by 2, like that, then I get y alone. But look at this. I got a bunch of fractions. I mean, it's okay. You could do it. You have to now plug it in for, 9x squared. Now you take the second equation. 9x squared minus 2xy plus 4y squared is 35. And then you got to plug in that ugly fraction thing for here and here. Both the y's. You got to square it. All them fractions everywhere. You can do it, and you get rid of the fractions. Well, actually, the fractions will go away because of the 4 and the 2. Oh, yeah, maybe we should just keep going. I was going to show you some trick, but it might confuse you. And well, here's the trick if you want. I looked up here and I said, hey, look, 4y squared, that's 2y times 2y. If I just get 2y alone, 7 minus 3x, that's 2y's. And right here, 2y is next to x, so another 2y. So I thought, oh, it's all just 2y. If I can get 2y alone, I can just replace 2y instead of y, and I won't have to ever touch a fraction. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Well, maybe I better finish this method first. And then, well, I'm not going to finish, but let me do the next step. Plug that in, right? And you're going to get 9x squared, because this is okay. 2x, and then what is the y? It's that awful thing. 7 halves minus 3 halves x plus 4y squared, which is 7 halves minus 3 halves x, and squared, so there's 2 of them, huh? Got to write it twice in FOIL. 7 halves minus 3 halves x equals 35. You see all that?
I mean, I wish I couldn't, but yeah, I see it.
It's a mess, isn't it? And then it would be 9x squared. Then distribute this. What happens? The 2's cancel, don't they? 7x, and the 2's cancel here. Plus, don't make any sign mistakes, 3x squared. So see, the fractions did go away. They will. They made it kind of nice. Now, what are you going to do here? Well, leave the 4 sitting in the front, and you got to FOIL out this big old mess. Boom and a boom. 49 fourths minus 21 fourths x minus 21 fourths x plus 9 fourths x squared equals 35. And then see, when the 4 distributes through, he'll cancel all these 4's out. So now I'll go dot, dot, dot. Now the fractions are gone, you can do the rest, right? So that will work. That is possible. Now I'll show you the trick again. These tricks don't always work though. That's the problem. I mean, sometimes you see something, sometimes you don't. I just looked here again and I just said, hey, that's 2y, and that's got a 2y. And so I thought, oh, there's a bunch of 2y's. So I could just take that first equation and I could say, well, hey, let me just jump the 3x over and just stop there, because I'm not going to actually go all the way to y, because I can just say I know what 2y is. So anywhere I see 2y, I can replace it with 7 minus 3x, because 2y is 7 minus 3x. So then I take that top equation. This way I can avoid fractions. Take that top equation, okay, 9x squared minus 2xy plus 4y squared is 35. And I just think to myself, I think, okay, look, this is x times 2y. I'm just rewriting it so I can see the 2y really clearly. And this is 2y. Right? That's what 4y squared is. And so then I can say, okay, so then this is x, and then what's, everywhere I see 2y, I can replace it with 7 minus 3x. See right there? See what I'm doing? And then 2y, that's going to be 7 minus 3x, 7 minus 3x. See that? So there you go. Now you got all x. You never had to touch a fraction. So that's a nice trick. That's a little bit helpful. It's not that, it's still going to be a lot of work. I mean, you avoided a little bit of the work. All right, either way on that, I'm going to move on. That stuff matters, though. I don't mean to downplay it. Hope you hear me saying really, really important. You learn, you spend time on all those, you'll be ready to. Okay, so what do you got to do? Well, you just solve for x squared or y squared and plug into the other one. I think you know. So x squared, whoops, minus 5y squared plus 64, 0. I would just jump this over. So x squared is 5y squared minus 64. And then just plug in for x squared into the other equation. You guys with me?
Yeah.
Are you sure? You guys kind of look like I'm on my own up here.
But
This is a non-spectator sport. Math is a try-it-yourself kind of sport. All right. So let's plug in. All right. So grab this and plug it in for x squared. Right? The whole x squared, this whole x squared. So the 2 power won't be there anymore. Right? The whole x squared is 5y squared minus 64. So this will become 5 times x squared. But what is x squared? X squared is 5y squared minus 64. No 2 up here. I've already handled the 2 because I replaced the whole x and 2 both by 5y squared minus 64, you see. That good? Making sense? Plus y squared is 96. Then I'll go dot, dot, dot. Let's go on and solve from there. Good. Oh, you want to actually let me finish one of these because these are easier and I don't want you to waste time. Let me show you how quick these are.
those are easy.
When it's all squares and there's no first powers, I mean, you won't ever have to deal with the. I'll show you what you want to deal with. So minus 300. What's that? 320. 96. 25y squared and another y squared is 20.
25
No, you already replaced x for 5y squared minus 64.
I think I'm good.
You're good.
Minus 320 is 96. Move the 320 or add 320, whatever, to both sides. So add 320.
Wow.
Add 320. So where am I at? 26y squared is that some nice number?
Yes.
What is it? 416?
Yeah.
416. Then you divide by 26.
Plus or minus 4.
It's 16. And then you root it. Isn't that nice? Root it, up and down the ladder, proof on the house, plus or minus 4. So y is plus or minus 4. Good so far?
A lot of those on the test, right?
Now, let me show you how easy it is. You don't have to actually separate the plus 4 and the minus 4. Why not? Because look, everywhere you plug in is going to be squared. Right? There is no y to the first power.
So it'll always be positive?
So it'll always be positive. So who cares? Don't do 2 separate things that work. They're going to be the same. When you plug in plus 4 squared is 16 or minus 4 squared is 16. Why? Because there's no y to the first power anywhere. All the y's are y squareds. So the sign matters not, right? So when you plug in then, you can just plug in, just plug in either one. So I would, here, let me wrap it up. So what I'm saying is, at this point I've got y is plus or minus 4. So now plug in whichever equation you want, maybe like this one. So 5x squared is 96 minus y squared. So 5x squared is 96 minus. And just plug in plus or minus 4. I mean, who cares? They're both the same thing, right? So you get 96 minus 16. You get, what is that, 80 divided by 5. X squared is 16 also? Yeah. Root it, plus or minus. Same thing. So that means the answers are plus or minus 4 with plus or minus 4. Meaning there's actually 4 options. Do you realize that? Now, I don't know how Math Excel requires you to type it. Let me be clear. You got to type in 4, 4, 4 minus 4, minus 4, 4, and minus 4, minus 4. Any order. That's what you have to type in. All the options on that. Now, let me do this one with the addition method. So x squared plus 6xy equals 8 2x squared minus xy. Oh, actually, yeah, you can do it however you want. Yeah, this one's not different, is it? I would probably just solve for the x squared in the first one. Yeah, just jump this over. X squared is 8 minus 6xy. Then plug that into the second one. It's making sense? So take the second one, plug this in right there. So 2 times 8 minus 6xy minus xy is 3. Distribute. 16 minus 12xy minus xy. Oh, wait a minute. I'm going to get xy. That'll work. That'll work.
Yeah, you can plug that in.
So then this is 16 minus 13xy is 3. Subtract 16 minus 13xy is minus 13, huh? Divide by minus 13. xy is 1.
Then 1 up there.
And that means you can come back up here and say this guy's 1. And you can solve for x, huh?
Then
Yeah.
y.
And then you can plug back in and solve for y. Because you still need x alone and y alone. All right. Well, we didn't finish.